Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to walk through a science-backed blueprint, 5 fundamental movements that can literally help turn back the clock on your body. And this isn't about trendy fitness hacks. This is about getting back to the body you were meant to have. You know, we've all heard it, right? Maybe we've even started to believe it ourselves. This idea that getting older is just a one-way ticket to weakness and stiffness. But what if I told you that whole story is basically a lie? What if all that decline isn't inevitable at all? And here's the crucial shift in thinking. The real culprit here isn't the number of candles on your cake. It's inactivity. It's pretty simple, really. Muscles shrink when we don't use them, and joints get stiff when we stop moving them. But here's the amazing part. Your body is built to adapt at any age. All right, first up, hanging. And no, you do not need to be a gymnast for this. It's just an incredible tool to decompress your spine, especially after years of sitting, and to rebuild healthy shoulders. But maybe most importantly, it trains your grip strength. And as we're about to see, grip strength is a huge deal. The best part is how simple this is. If you're just starting out, put a chair underneath you to take some of the weight off. Just start with little bursts, 5 or 10 seconds at a time. Heck, you can even use a sturdy railing outside and get similar benefits. The whole goal is to just gradually increase your time until you can support your full body weight. The aim? Work your way up to 5, maybe even 10 minutes total, sprinkled throughout your day. And this is where the science gets kind of mind-blowing. Researchers actually use grip strength as a key indicator for how long you're going to live. A huge study in 2018 found that low grip strength is directly tied to a higher risk of, well, pretty much everything bad. Heart disease, cancer, you name it. So yeah, it's way more than just opening a stubborn jar. It's a direct signal of your overall vitality. But you know, stats are one thing. Let's talk about real people. Take Chris, who's 61. She started out only able to hang for 2 seconds, even with a chair helping her. But a few weeks later, she's doing 30 seconds all on her own. She even started hula hooping again. It's about getting back to the things that bring you joy. Okay, so let's move on to our second movement. We have got to rethink the squat. It's not some horrible exercise punishment at the gym. It's the original way humans were designed to rest. When we lose the ability to do this, we lose mobility in our ankles, our hips, and eventually our independence. And just like hanging, anyone can start this. Seriously. If you can't get all the way down, no problem. Hold on to a door frame. If it's still tough, stick a couple of books under your heels. It makes it so much easier. The goal isn't reps here. It's about spending time in the position. Start with just a few minutes a day and build up until it feels natural, comfortable, like coming home. So what's with this number, 5 times? Well, a 2012 study came up with something they called the sitting rising test. They basically watched to see how easily people could sit down on the floor and then stand back up. And here's the kicker. The people who struggled the most were 5 times more likely to die within the next 6 years. 5 times. That's just a staggering statistic. And this isn't just about the data. It's about reclaiming your life. For Pamela, a student who'd been stiff for years, being able to finally sit all the way down in a squat was a huge breakthrough. I mean, can you imagine that feeling of freedom after decades of feeling locked up? Which leads us perfectly to our third movement, the ability to get down onto the floor and get yourself back up again with no help. That is the clear line in the sand between dependence and independence. When you lose this, you lose your freedom. It's really that simple. And the way you progress is really intuitive. First, just focus on standing up from a chair without pushing off with your hands. Then you try it from something lower, a low stool, then maybe a cushion, and then eventually the floor itself. The goal is just to build that strength to rise up with control. Okay, let's go back to that sitting rising test for a second. That same study showed that for every point you lose on the test, say for needing to use a hand to push off the floor, your risk of death increases by 21%. This isn't some vague theory, it's a direct, measurable link between how you move and how long you live. And this quote from Patricia, who's in her 60s, it just says it all, doesn't it? Her big dream wasn't to run a marathon, it was just to stand up without using her hands. Such a simple, profound act of independence. And you know what? In just 3 months, she did it. All right, now for our final 2 movements, which really work together as a single system. We're talking about hip mobility as your solid foundation and core stability as your anti-fall armor. Together, they are your #1 defense against the main way aging steals our independence, falls. Let's break that down.
When your hips get stiff and locked up, your balance goes right out the window, and your risk of falling goes through the roof. And a hip fracture for an older adult, it carries a terrifying 20 to 30% chance of death within a year. On the other side of the coin, a stable core is your shield. It's what keeps you strong and steady, preventing you from losing your balance in the first place. So, how do you train this dynamic duo? Well, you start with the basics. For your hips, gentle 90-90 rotations on the floor are fantastic. For your core, you know the classics, planks and wall sits. Once you've built that foundation, you can start blending them into more flowing movements, teaching your body to be both mobile and stable at the exact same time. And the real payoff here is in those small, everyday moments. Michelle couldn't bend down to feed her dogs without pain. After working on her hip mobility, she sent a video of herself just doing it, easily, laughing. That's what this is all about, getting back the simple joys. So, there you have it. We've covered the 5 key movements. But this isn't just a list of exercises. It's a complete, actionable blueprint. It's your roadmap for reversing the damage of inactivity and reclaiming the body you deserve. So let's recap it one last time real quick. Hang to decompress your spine and grip more life. Squat to stay human and reclaim your natural resting position. Master the sit to stand to keep your freedom. Free your hips to prevent disaster. And build core stability to bulletproof your future. And look, this isn't just a theory. We've seen these transformations with thousands of people. People like Chris, who started hula hooping again, Patricia, who got her independence back, and Sharon, who went from hip pain so bad she couldn't sleep to waking up pain-free. These results are real and they're achievable. So, the final thought I want to leave you with is this. Movement isn't just a way to slow down aging. When you do the right things, it can actively reverse it. You can get stronger, more mobile, and more resilient than you were years ago. The only real question is, what will you start today?